We finally signed an apartment, alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum. So in today's video, I want to talk about finding an apartment. So very recently, we got news back that the owner of the apartment that we were interested in, that we had signed for, had finally signed. So this means that in just, well, from the upload date, maybe a day or two later, we will be moving into our new apartment, inshallah. And this is a massive relief, and I'll get onto that in a second, but I just want to run you through the events that took place that led us to here. So as soon as we arrived in Morocco, well, actually not as soon as we arrived in Morocco, but within maybe 4 or 5 days, I quickly realized that we have less than 2 weeks to find an apartment. I basically booked an Airbnb for 2 weeks, or it was 14 nights. And I knew that after that, we should move into an apartment because Airbnb is very expensive. It's not cheap. Even in Morocco, in comparison to the long-term stays, long-term apartment contracts, it's very pricey. So I think 2 weeks in that place that we were staying in was well over 1,000. It was just too much. I don't even know why I went. It was a nice apartment, but it was way too much. So we knew that we had to find a place. So straight away, and I made a video on this, I went around viewing apartments, and the first one that I viewed, it wasn't nice. I just didn't like it. Second one I viewed, it was nice. There were some small issues with mold and stuff like this, and the price, I felt like it was too high. I offered lower, they rejected. Well, they didn't even reply at first, but then they rejected. And in the meantime, as they were, thinking about rejecting it, I had viewed a different apartment, which is the apartment we got, and I much preferred it. It was an extra bedroom, so I'll give you a quick rundown of the actual apartment. And I'll do an apartment tour soon as we move in, inshallah. So it's 3-bedroom apartment, which was more than what we anticipated. It is on one of the highest floors of the building. I think it was like the 5th floor or something like that. It might have been 4th floor, 5th floor, maybe even 6th. I can't remember. It's in, I wouldn't say, it's not necessarily a gated community, but it has security. And it's an extremely nice, large complex. For those of you who know, it's Lotenord, and we'll be staying in Tanja. For those of you who haven't been watching the videos, we'll be staying in Tanja. So we love the city from what we experienced in that short amount of time. The only issue was my allergies, but aside from that, it was all good. And it felt the most homely out of all of the places, right? So then on that same day, we went to grab some food, and we spoke about, should we put in an offer? And very quickly we came to the conclusion that, yeah, of course, let's put in an offer. Seems like a given, right? It was better in so many different ways. Oh, I forgot to actually finish the rundown. So 3-bedroom, one of the highest floors in a very nice, secure complex, very visually pleasing, had other Muslims who made Hijrah, of other expats and all of this. So it felt more homely. It came with 2 bathrooms, or sorry, 1 bathroom and 1 toilet with a sink, and open sort of living area kind of thing with a balcony. And yeah, it was just everything that we wanted, I would say. I'd say the only big issue, well, it's not even big. The only issue was that it came furnished, which is on one hand very good. It saves you having to buy all of these things, but at the same time, you're kind of using someone else's bed and someone else's sofa, and it doesn't feel as much like home as maybe you'd hope. But aside from that, it's a very nice apartment, and we're very happy, alhamdulillah. So the price for this was 6,500 Moroccan, which is roughly £500 a month. Now, a lot of people will be like, oh, that's very expensive for Morocco, but at the same time, you have to realize that I've done my research in that specific complex. I viewed a different property in that complex. The previous one, which I put in the offer, I lowballed it, was in that same complex, and it was a worse apartment, 1 less bedroom, lower floor, had mold, and it was listed for the same price. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not overpaying. I could well be overpaying, but this complex, from what I've heard, was specifically built for those who are coming from abroad. So you have to bear that in mind. The prices are going to be higher as it's not marketed towards Moroccans. So anyway, after we put in the offer, we heard back, and I think within a day or two, we heard back and they said, yeah, you can come sign the contract. You need to send this amount of money and come sign the contract. So I went and signed a contract at, I think, a solicitor's. There's a little bit of a funny story. Went to the estate agent, they grabbed some documents or whatever, and then they just left, and we thought, okay, let's just follow them. And we just hopped into a car and they drove us somewhere without even telling us where they were going. But anyway, we signed the documents, or I signed documents. And then after that, I was expecting to hear back maybe within a few days, saying the owner has also signed. Yeah, anyway, more on that in a bit. But something I forgot to mention, and this video is all over the place, is that there was roughly, I think, a month until we could actually move in. This was the other negative about this apartment, is that we would have to spend a month living in Airbnbs. It's not ideal, and because of the price and because you don't get to set down your roots properly and you're sort of moving about. But we thought there's not really much else on the market at the moment, so we just went for it. Alhamdulillah, I'm very, very happy we have. We haven't moved in yet, so it's not all plain sailing yet, but we'll see, inshallah. So anyway, in that time I thought, okay, whilst everything's being signed and, you know, I decided that we would travel to a couple of different cities. So we spent 2 weeks in Rabat, and we are currently at the tail end of spending 10 nights in Casablanca. And very, very happy we spent time in both, because it really just reassured us that the city and the place that we picked is the right one for us. Rabat, and I'll cover this in a different video, was very nice, just not the place we want to live. Casablanca, on the other hand, isn't that nice. It's very convenient, has a lot of shops and cafes and restaurants, but to live as a Muslim trying to avoid fitna, it's not good. So anyway, weeks had gone past. I had been in contact with the estate agent maybe about 4, 5, 6 times every few days, and I was asking, has the owner signed it? Has the owner signed it? And there was always a little excuse like, oh, he's very busy, this, you know, all of these things that estate agents tell you. I don't know. But anyway, I was starting to get a little bit annoyed, a little bit anxious, just because we were coming up to the day of moving in, which is just in a few days from now. And a couple of days ago, I heard back, yeah, he's finally signed it. Alhamdulillah. So that was a whole bunch of relief. And just to mention, if you're interested in how I made the payments, one way of doing it is obviously if you open a Moroccan bank account. Now, in order to open a Moroccan bank account, you need a place of residence, and obviously I didn't have one, so I couldn't do that. The alternative method is international bank transfer, which from my experience, Wise is a very, very good one. You pay very minimal fees. For the first payment, which was a whole month's rent, is a security deposit. I paid £25 in fees out of the 500 and something. Now that seems quite high because I did it the wrong way. I did a direct bank transfer from my British bank. What you need to do is actually convert it in the Wise app or the Wise platform and then make the transfer, and then you pay only about £3 to £5 or something like that. So you save about £20 if you do that. And now I have recently made the payment of 2 months worth of rent. So until 3 months before we've even moved in, 1 month is the first month's rent, which is understandable. The second month is the agency fees, and then obviously the security deposit. The agency fees is not something that you would expect in the UK, but you know, we're in Morocco, so I don't know. This is apparently, I've asked around, this is apparently the normal thing. It's a lot, but alhamdulillah. So anyway, how do we feel? Well, how do I feel? Because I guess I'm the only one talking. I'm just very, very relieved, and I'm looking forward to actually finally staying still for more than a couple of weeks. You know, it seems like I've been non-stop traveling since February. That's genuinely how it feels. Because yeah, been obviously in London, then in Belgium, then back to London, Belgium back to London, then Belgium again, then Morocco, then moving around in Morocco, and it's been non-stop for about 4 months, and that takes its toll. So yeah, inshallah, looking forward to finally settling down, making this apartment our home, and just put my head down and getting to work, man, and bringing out some interesting vlogs for you, some interesting videos, more about my life making hijrah in Morocco, inshallah. But anyway, make sure you follow my Instagram, put it on screen somewhere. I post about 2 reels a week and daily stories. So if you want a bit more of an inside look into my hijrah journey, then make sure you follow me, inshallah. And I'll see you next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.